Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Change Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Tim McBride. This is a platform where I invite local industry leaders, influencers, and agents of change to join me in conversation to share their stories and speak to inspire others. I want to continue down this kind of local good series that I've been doing. It plays right into what I'm trying to do with this podcast, which is just speak to leaders in our community, help share and promote their stories to hopefully inspire others. Right now, though, these stories are really focusing on kind of stories, things that are happening right now. People that in times of uncertainty, in difficult situations, are still finding ways and resources to serve others and impact others to help us get through this as not just individuals, but as a community. I'm excited for my guest today, Shawn Henss. He's a good friend, and him and his family founded 2 years ago an incredible organization, a nonprofit organization called Giving Soul. I'll allow Shawn to share a little bit of their story, how they got to where they are today. But I personally am just super inspired by them, what they've accomplished, how they accomplished it, the why behind it. I had the privilege of working side by side with them with my Homes for Good platform last year. I won't share much because, again, I'd like Shawn to really speak into it. But just an amazing, amazing organization, amazing family that are meeting immediate needs right here locally. And I'm excited because right now, as a nonprofit, they've had to adjust, they've had to make changes, and as you'll hear him say, they're not standing still. And I think that's what's so empowering about what today's conversation will be about. It's about how we can keep pushing forward and keep finding opportunities to be of service in this new normal that we're trying to navigate. So, Shawn, it's a pleasure to have you on my show, my friend. It's great to see you. I'd love for you to, like I said, share a little bit about who you guys are as a family and Giving Soul, the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my name is Shawn, and like Tim just said, we started Giving Soul. This August would be our 2-year anniversary, and the nonprofit that we started came out of several different circumstances that we went through as a family. First and foremost, it's been about 4 years ago that we had a little girl for almost a year that we were fostering and wanting to adopt. We weren't able to adopt her, so that was really hard on our family. And that story within itself actually has come full circle. Tim, you and I have talked about it a lot. We still get to see her. We're a huge part of her life. And it's an amazing story of how it turned out. But when you're in the middle of it, it was really, really hard and extremely hard for our son. We have one son who is now 11 years old, and he just wants a sibling so bad. And so when we weren't able to keep her, it was just really tough on him, and him trying to figure out, looking at the bigger picture as far as why we couldn't keep her. Then at the time he was 8 years old, he was able to see that, well, she gets to be with other siblings. She's with her forever family. He's pulling all this positiveness out of this situation that my wife and I were having a hard time seeing through. Then you fast forward about a year or so after she had left our home, and Gavin, again, you and I talk about it a lot. He had that experience with LeBron James at a Phoenix Suns game where LeBron gave him his arm sleeve, and it ended up going viral. I'm not going to get into all that right now, but basically it went viral. It was all over ESPN and different news outlets. And the first thing that Gavin said was, "Dad, can I use this to help kids in foster care?" And I knew what he meant. Basically, can I use these 15 minutes of fame that I have as a platform to help kids? And we were like, absolutely. And long story short, we sifted through different things that we could try and do for the foster care agency and the foster care world here locally in Arizona. And that's where we landed on giving shoes away. So we've been doing that again. This August will be 2 years. To date, we've done a little over 500 pairs of shoes that we've given away. And it started as something we wanted to do as a family. It was part of a healing process for us to get through us not having our little girl anymore. Also, wanting to make sure that we continue to pour into Gavin and the vision that he had to help other kids in need in the foster care world. And so here we are, 2 years later, 500 pairs of shoes. Gavin writes a handwritten note to every child that gets a new pair of shoes. And the shoes that we do provide, not only do they have to be brand new, but they have to be name brand shoes, Adidas, Nike. It's something that is so important for us as an organization to give these kids. We've kind of coined the slogan of wanting to not just give them what they need, but we want to give them what they deserve. These kids have been put in a situation that they 100% had no control over. And we want to provide them with the latest and greatest shoes. And because of generosity of donors that we've partnered with, we've been able to do that. So it's been an amazing journey so far. I never would have dreamed that it would have turned into what it has.
And I can speak as someone that's really been able to interact with you guys and experience the heart you have for this cause. You invited myself, my family, to be a part of a shoe purchasing experience at Dick's Sporting Goods, and to see you guys come together as a family and see just the passion that Gavin has to get in there, source the shoes, and pick out the shoes, and then that we got to experience during our Homes for Good campaign the notes that he writes, and
Right.
it's incredible as a father to see the servant heart that he has, and as servant heart that you as a family have for these kids. And you touch on it, like, they didn't ask for this situation or the environment that they're in. And you referenced kind of interaction with LeBron and the note, and you also have that saying on the bag that you give that you're more than.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And it's an interesting tie there, because again, I don't want to get into all the details, but the whole LeBron situation, Gavin made a poster for LeBron to support him. And that was during that whole campaign of when the different news anchors were saying that he needs to shut up and dribble. And then, he came out with being more than an athlete. And as we started to move forward with what we were doing as far as a nonprofit, that's when we thought about, you're more than a foster kid. You're more than what you think of yourself. You're more than what society thinks of you. So on those bags that they get with the shoes, they get a little sports bag. It has, you are more than ... And that's our way of trying to pour into these kids. Because a lot of these kids, we don't get to meet them personally. Their shoes are delivered through their caseworkers and things like that. So we don't really get to meet a lot of these kids. So we were trying to find creative ways to be able to pour into them, going along with what you said, with Gavin writing the handwritten notes, and then on a sports bag, it's saying you are more than.
God, so it's so powerful, and you've done a lot to this day. I think you said you're coming up on your 2-year anniversary. Over 5 pairs of brand new athletic shoes, all with a name tied to them. I think that's super powerful too. Is that they're not just going anywhere; they're going to a specific child in a situation that pair of shoes, right?
Yeah, exactly. We don't stockpile shoes. We don't take shoe donations. I mean, if someone has a brand new pair and they really just want to help us, we'll take them. The whole point of how we go about getting the shoes is we get the kids information. We get their first name, their age, their shoe size, if they have a favorite style of shoe, if they have a favorite color. And then we go out as a family and then with some other volunteers and purchase the shoes. And that way the kids know, these shoes were handpicked for you. And we've seen some of the notes that have come back to us, and even some pictures where these kids are they asked for a white pair of Nikes with a green stripe. And that's what they get. They get what they asked for. And they're like, I can't believe, first off, that I actually got a new pair of shoes, but you actually listened to me.
Yeah.
And you actually gave me what I asked for.
Wow. I'm a big believer in what you're doing, a big fan.
Yeah.
I love that we can keep having these conversations, because I'm just blown away by what you guys have set out to do and the success you've had. You've said from the beginning too, if it all stopped today, we feel fulfilled, right?
100%. This stemmed from us hearing about the needs that were out there in foster care community. And again, like I said, we landed on doing shoes. Gavin bought the first pair of, I think 2 or 3 pairs of shoes with some money that he had set aside. And even with those 3 pairs of shoes, if that's all we did, we helped those 3 kids, it's a win. There's no loss here. And that's what I love about how we're able to pour into the foster care community. And even through times like this, continuing to pour into them and knowing that even the littlest thing has a huge impact.
I want to use that that statement right there to kind of transition to where you are right now.
Mhm.
Obviously, everyone has been affected by what happened a month ago,
Right.
and there's a lot of ways we could have responded. But I'd be very curious to hear how you guys, not just as a family, but as a nonprofit organization that has kind of been forced to stop how
Yeah.
you operate. Correct. So, like, how have you guys managed that, and how have you pivoted? Because I know you have. And that's what I'm excited for you to share.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. We really gained a lot of momentum throughout these last 2 years. And a couple of the things that we do or have been doing on a regular basis throughout these 2 years is we partner with AZ Helping Hands. And what we do with them, we provide new shoes to kids that have birthdays each month. So we supply anywhere from 15, sometimes all the way up to 30 pairs of shoes a month for their organization for their birthday gifts. And then we also partner with the Love Up Foundation, where they do a thing called the Children's Heart Gallery, which is a partnership they have with DCS, where it's a day where they take kids that are basically up for adoption and they give them a day where they get pampered, they get their hair cut, they get some clothes, and we're there on site to actually measure their feet, ask them what kind of shoes you want, and then we go out as a family, buy the shoes, and then have them delivered to them a few weeks ago. And we would do this year. We had, I think, 6 of those events planned with Love Up Foundation, and we're only able to do one so far this year. So all that is stopped right now. So you kind of get used to this momentum, and you're engaging, and you're excited, and it's going well, and you're making an impact. And then you realize, okay, what we normally could do, we can't do right now. The stores are closed. We can't go out and buy shoes. And to be honest with you, with what's happening in the world right now, and especially in the foster care world, not that shoes aren't important, but it's not the greatest need right
Right.
now. And maybe a kid that thought you really wanted a pair of shoes, right now it's more of, I need food, they need diapers, things like that. So our we've had to shift with how we could help, and we didn't want to just stand by. We didn't want to be that, well, we can't do shoes, so we'll just wait until everything clears off and then we'll start doing shoes again. We wanted to still try and find a way to help.
And now you mentioned the two organizations, the Helping Hands, and there's a second, Thrive, correct?
Yeah, Thrive AZ.
Right.
They're an amazing org. It's funny, Thrive AZ and AZ Helping Hands are actually right next to each other. They're in the same building. Thrive AZ, they really focus on helping families that are close or have lost their children to the foster care agency. And what I mean by that is they didn't have their house up to code, or they fell in hard times, and through DCS wanted to make sure that the kids are taken care of. They'll sometimes remove them from the home. So Thrive AZ focuses not only on the children in foster care, but they also focus on the families to try and help them get back on their feet so they can get their kids back, or so they don't get their kids taken away. And that's a little snippet of what they do. They do a lot more. But that's kind of it's a unique organization, that's focusing not only on the kids, but are focusing on the families as well.
Out of curiosity, because you built quite a bit of momentum, and there's a lot of people in the community have rallied behind the growth of Giving Soul the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
How are you handling, from an operations standpoint, relationships with your donors and your partners? How have they responded to this situation that we're all in?
It's been awesome. We basically interact with them through social media with posts to keep them up to speed, and through Instagram stories and things like that. And we've had several of our donors already reach out and provide donations for what we're currently doing. As far as, we can't give shoes right now, but we can still try and help buy diapers, buy gift cards, baby wipes. The other the other week, we actually bought a bunch of batteries. We bought 400 batteries, and they were for. It was cool. They were for some toys, like learning toys, that were donated to DCS to give the kids to learn from home. But then they realized, well, we don't have batteries for all these.
Oh, wow.
So I heard about it, reached out to one of our contacts at DCS, And then I went on Amazon and bought a ton of batteries. So who would have thought about that?
It's so simple, but yeah,
It is. It's
significant at
simple.
the same time, right?
Yeah, it's just finding, whatever that need is, and then trying to help out. And there's so many organizations in the foster care community that are rallying together. I have to tell you, it's so impressive. I've been on several calls with DCS this last month where different organizations like Love Up, Easy Helping Hands, and others that are on these phone calls where the director of DCS is giving all of us a rundown of what the needs are, what are the goals, what have been some of the amazing accomplishments and milestones that they have met. And to hear these people on this call saying, well, I can take care of that. I'll do that. Here, call me later and we'll do that. Like just this unity on the front lines and people not being about, well, that's my thing. That's what I do. You can't do that. It's like, no, we're in this together. How can we help? And even for us, like Love Up has done, they just blow me away. They really do. I mean, they got, I think, one of the grocery stores, they got to donate $5,000 or something like that in gift cards.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then buying diapers and everything. And we want to help too. We bought diapers, we bought some gift cards, and we made some financial donations to AZ Helping Hands and to Thrive AZ. So we're all in this together. And I love this foster care community and how these organizations work together and try and pick up some of the heavy lifting that maybe other organizations can't do. Because at the end of the day, it's about these families and it's about these kids in this time.
And what you mentioned that everyone's kind of coming together, and there's DCS has kind of a list of needs. Is that something that's kind of protected for you guys to be aware of, or is this something that's public that people that are hearing this, or we can share this too, could reach out and
Yeah, absolutely. I think they have something on their website, and I apologize. I can get it to you later and we can post something. But no, it's definitely of however people can help out. Financial donations are always a big deal because then they can use that money accordingly, to what the need is, because the needs shift.
Yeah.
The need for diapers might not be as big of a deal as maybe needs for food bags. We went to Thrive AZ. This was probably a few weeks ago, and they have bags set up to deliver to families. And so we went by and we delivered a couple food bags for some families, and it was food to be able to get these families through maybe the next month or so. So there's all kind of different ways, and you go to DCS and go to their website. I'm sure they would have a list there of different things. Love Up does, Thrive AZ does, AZ Helping Hands does as well. So they're really good resources just directly from their websites.
Perfect. So we'll make sure we document all of those links.
Yeah, absolutely.
Show notes afterwards, because I think what's so important is that people are not just hearing this, but they're seeing ways that they too can reach out. You made a very just strong statement, which I think should resonate with all of us. Is there's no need to be standing still right now.
Right.
We can, and not all of us are in situations where we can maybe do a lot of good. We could just be survival mode, but standing still is kind of the worst thing we can be doing. And I think if we can,
and absolutely
things to be doing every day.
Right, and also looking at you and I have talked about this. We talked about it earlier today about not letting the size of the situation overwhelm you and think because, okay, there's so much going on. What can I do? I'll let someone else that can do this and make a bigger impact. It's not about that.
No.
It's not about, well, how much more of an impact can we make than this organization or that organization? Or are we going to be recognized as much because we haven't made as big of an impact? And it doesn't matter. We went and bought a handful bag of diapers, some wipes, batteries, like batteries.
Yeah.
It's not changing the world, but it's helping these kids right now in this time. So that's the other thing too. And going back to how our organization originally started was we're giving shoes away. We're not changing the face of foster care. We're not changing legislation, but we are helping these kids and we're trying to pour into these kids and we're trying to plant a seed. So that would be my biggest thing to try and tell people is that no matter where your heart is, whether it's foster care or people that are homeless or whatever the case may be. Just find whatever need is there and don't worry about how small it may be or even how large it is. If it's too large, find an organization that you can partner with to make that impact.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a monetary exchange, right? It could also,
Mhm.
time, your
Yeah,
energy, like yourself, your
absolutely.
capabilities. Like, can you build things? Can you donate clothing? Can you fix like you can use anything that you
Right,
have the skill sets for to help. I think it's just taking that step, taking that leap of faith that you two can do something for someone else right now.
right,
It's so powerful. I've just been just so inspired by what you guys have done for a lot of reasons, but you're so transparent from start to finish. And it's so obvious to me that the love and the passion is there, but the impact is being made because you see it through until the end, and you know that these shoes are put on the feet of a deserving child, and
right,
that's such a generous gift, and you're showing such love into someone that you may never ever meet, and they may
right,
experience
right,
you, and that is such a powerful gift. Um,
right,
and I think if more people could see kind of giving in that same light, tie their donation or tie their dollar amount to an individual, to a family, or to some sort of result, I think there's a lot of power behind that, and hopefully a lot of hope.
right. It's neat. If you don't mind, share a quick story. I can't divulge any names, but a, a person that we met really thought there was something special about Gavin. He couldn't put his hand on it, but he's like, man, it's just your son. It's just something special about him. And kind of left it at that. And then time went on, and the same gentleman saw my wife and I with our Giving Soul shirts one Saturday after we had done an event. And he was kind of joking with us about, matching shirts and stuff like that. And he's like, what is that? I'm like, oh, it's an organization that our son started. I told him the whole thing. And then later on that day, he emailed me and he was like, thank you so much for sharing. And I won't go into the whole story, but basically, he was a foster kid growing up.
Wow.
And he's now an older gentleman, very successful businessman. But he told me, he said, what you guys are doing, I can resonate with. He said, I was 13 years old before I got my first pair of shoes. And listen to this. This is really cool. So his foster family that adopted him were the ones that bought him his first pair of tennis shoes. This gentleman is now in his mid 40s. And to this day, I don't know if it's on his birthday or another special day, his foster parents still buy him a new pair of shoes to commemorate that time. But here's a man that has made a huge impact on his society with his life and what he's accomplished. But he's a child in foster care, and he didn't get his first pair of shoes. Not like name brand, like shoes at all, like new shoes, until he was 13 years old. And when I heard that story, I was like, okay, we're on the right path.
Yeah.
We're making an impact. And it goes back to what you and I've talked about. The shoes aren't sustainable. They're gonna outgrow the shoes.
Yeah.
But planting that seed, that's what our heart is and our goal is to plant that seed into that 10-year-old child, that 18-year-old child that's getting ready to age out of the program and not know what he or she is going to do the next day. But planting that seed, and that's where the letters come in and the bag comes in. And I just wanted to share that story because when he sent me that email, I was at work and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start crying in the middle of my office because this was pretty overwhelming of a story to tell.
But it's those stories that are going to just keep moving people forward
Yeah,
in pursuing whatever their channels of giving are, right? Like you said,
exactly.
it doesn't always have to be foster care. It could be
Nope.
animal rescue, it could be anything. But as long as your heart is in the right place and you're seeing that there are results and that good is coming from the donations, people will keep doing it. And I think
Right.
that's where a lot of nonprofits, unfortunately, struggle, and that is bringing the story back to the donor, to the community.
Right.
At the core of everything I'm doing with this is just to help share those stories. And it's been
Yeah.
awesome to have you be part of this as a nonprofit, going, listen, here's where our heart is, here's where our mission is, here's the impact we're having. Times are tough, but we're
Right.
not going to stand still. We're going to keep, serving, keep speaking into this community that we're so passionate about, and to be able to share stories like you just basically going to close us out on, because we could go for another half an hour.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's so awesome because that one act on the shoe, you never know what that could then turn into. And I love it. You're planting seeds, and that's the right approach to have. And it's just so cool to
Yeah.
continue to be a part of what you're doing and hearing and learning.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
and how's the family doing?
The family's good. Yeah, Gavin's getting used to doing the school at home. I think he kind of likes it because he's able to get everything done within a couple hours, and he has the rest of the day to be free and play. But he definitely misses his friends. This was his last year at a school that he's been at for 8 years. And so that's been kind of hard on him and everything. But I tell you, as a family, it's been really good for us just to spend some quality time together. Aaliyah and I are able to work from home, and so it's been good for us. It's still hard being separated from family and friends and not being able to be physically around them.
Yeah.
But that, again, it's a different situation, and you can choose to look at the good or the bad, and we're trying our best to just focus on the good. And part of that good is just being able to have that quality family time together and dream and make goals for the future when this thing ends, when we can get the shoes back out, and how are we going to do that? And so it gives us an opportunity to talk as a family and set new goals and dreams for what we want to do with Giving Soul.
I love it. Well, thank you for coming on today.
Oh, yeah.
What can we do to continue to direct people towards Giving Soul and towards you guys as a family and the work you're doing so they can stay up to date?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can always follow us on Instagram. It's giving_soul, SOLE. Find us on Facebook. Our website is givingsoul.org. You can go there if you ever wanted to make a cash donation, to provide some money. As we're continuing to do what we do now, which is not do shoes, but doing diapers and wipes and things like that. But anyway, just word of mouth, just getting the word out there. Because the last thing I'll say, Tim, one of the greatest joys that we've had with what we've been doing is not only the shoes, but creating that awareness. And you and I, again, have had so many conversations where I've told you things about foster care and your jaw just hits the ground. You're like, really? Like, I didn't know that. So not only are we helping these kids, but we're getting that awareness out for people that don't know that this is a huge situation right in our backyard. And just like us, until we had our little girl, we didn't really know much about it. We knew it was an issue, but we had no idea it was at the level that it is.
Well, I'm grateful for you as a friend, and
thanks, man. Likewise.
What you guys are doing, because especially right now in times where it's difficult for everyone on some level.
Yeah.
To know that there's stories like Giving Soul out there and the Henss family that are kind of leaning into this and not standing still. That's the whole idea, is just to put the spotlight on you guys and what you're going to continue to do here in this uncertainty. Just keep moving forward. And
I appreciate it.
I love that you guys are treating it and thinking of goals, because that can be, I'm just thinking from like a business standpoint, it's difficult right now because I'm not sure what it's going to bring, but
right.
Put yourself in that mindset to be kind of looking forward to the future. It's awesome. So
yeah, awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate you even taking the time to have us. So always
welcome, my friend.
Cool.
Please say hi to the family for me. Thank you for coming on, guys. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and keep sharing the work you're doing, and following and keep supporting. And anytime you ever need it, don't hesitate to reach out.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on, Shawn.
All right, buddy.
Giving Soul, everybody, really follow their story. Just so inspiring on a lot of levels, and they really are meeting the needs of kids here right in our community that are deserving. So thank you, Shawn. Thank you, Giving Soul, and to all the partners that you're affiliated with. All those links will be there. Please check them out, and however you can, just recognize them and support them. So everyone, be safe. Follow us online. Check out homesforgoodaz.com, JJ's at YouTube podcast. Feel free to leave any comments below, or if you have any recommendations or suggestions for another guest that's really kind of elevating their game right now in this kind of normal we're trying to navigate through. I'd love to introduce myself, say hello, and help share their story so more people can be aware of what they're doing. So thank you again, Shawn.
Awesome. Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Yes, likewise.
All right. You take care.
All right, man. See ya.